So Brian Schottenheimer made a very strong statement when discussing a couple of late round draft picks made by the Dallas Cowboys that says a lot about what they're thinking and could have a major impact on offense. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Mauricio Rodriguez here at A to Z Sports Dallas. Today, we're talking the Dallas Cowboys 2025 NFL Draft, but we are zeroing in on a couple of late-round draft picks made by the team, and I am talking about the running backs, and we'll get into what Schottenheimer had to say about them. But the Cowboys picked Jaden Blue out of the Texas Longhorns in the 5th round, and then in the 7th, they got Phil Mafa out of Clemson. Let me start off by saying I love the combination. I like that Jaden Blue has that explosion to his game. And when I hear Clayton Adams, the new offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, talk about wanting to create explosives in the run game, Jaden Blue will give them that. And people have argued that in the 5th round, there were better running backs available, but I think it was one of those situations where the front office was picking between different flavors of running backs. Do you want the power back? Do you want the balanced guy, the guy that can hang in pass protection in 3rd downs? In this case, the Cowboys shows speed, they shows explosiveness. It's not a perfect pick because Jaden Blue does not have the size to be a true number 1 running back. And I was seeing this Dane Brugler stat from his guide where he pointed out that in 38 games of Jaden Blue's career, he only had over 18 touches once. So yes, Blue will be a part of a committee and a very important part of it because of those big gains, but don't expect him to be the guy that gets 20 plus carries per game. Here's the good news, though. The Cowboys also got Phil Mafa, who is a very different type of running back. And I'm a Clemson fan, so I've watched this guy carefully. He is a bruiser. I would compare him to a truck just running over people over and over again. And I honestly believe if it wasn't for a shoulder injury that he suffered throughout the 2024 season that really impacted his play, he might have been a 4th round draft pick or something like that. I'm very surprised that Mafa went until the 7th round. And I truly think that the reason why was the fact that he had been dealing with a shoulder injury, which at the same time really speaks volumes about his personality and the fact that he will be a true football guy for Dallas. But here's the important part of this. Yes, Phil Mafa can play and he can be a bruiser. He doesn't have that breakaway speed, and that's his biggest issue. Plus, he isn't very good at being a pass catcher, really. And what I mean by that is they could very well be at the top of the depth chart when the season starts. And I'm not saying that just because I like them as prospects, but Brian Schottenheimer made a very strong statement about them when talking about the running backs in the post-draft press conference. Schottenheimer was asked if they could start, and his response was pretty simple. I would hope so. Otherwise, we wouldn't have drafted them. Now, you could say that's just coach speak, but I'm telling you this. If they had asked him about Jay Toya, Tommy Akingbisode, a couple of late-round draft picks by the Cowboys, or even Shamar James, the linebacker that they drafted a few picks after Jaden Blue, I don't think Schottenheimer says they could start. I think he's talking specifically about the running backs and the fact that he truly believes a couple of late round draft picks could be the team's leaders at the position week 1. And if it's not week 1, maybe it's a little bit later in the season. But what I'm saying is Jaden Blue and Phil Mafa are a viable day 1 running back 1-2 combo. Is it perfect? No, it isn't. And Jaden Blue has some fumble issues. Phil Mafa doesn't have that top tier speed, but they could complement each other well enough to the point where the Cowboys are comfortable with them spearheading the committee. And more specifically, maybe they're more comfortable than Miles Sanders and Deuce Vaughn being involved. Personally, in my 53-man roster projection, which is out already on A2Zsports.com, and I'll share the link with you in the description, I have Miles Sanders and Deuce Vaughn cut, while Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, and Phil Mafa make it alongside fullback Hunter Lipke. At the very least, we're getting a heck of a battle. And as Schottenheimer said, and I quote, again, I would think that both Javonte and Miles will not be intimidated by these two guys. I think Jaden and Phil will both come in, and they've got a big learning curve, but they're the right type of guys who will pick the system up fast. We'll see if it's fast enough for them to start early on in their careers.